All right. I want to talk for a few minutes about Michael Flynn. Jerry Dunleavy at the Washington Examiner, our partners here on Jimmy at the Crossroads, had a news report that lays out how Sally Yates, former Deputy Attorney General, learned of the Flynn targeting. Now, Sally Yates was the former Deputy Attorney General, as I mentioned, and she was fired in 2017 by the Trump administration, by President Trump, for not moving forward with a defense of his travel ban in court. She felt, no, I don't like this, so I'm not going to defend it in court. And Trump essentially said, you're gone then if you're not going to defend my order in court. I'm the President of the United States. You're supposed to defend my policy. You didn't. I'm going to toss you. She's no fan. Keep this in mind. She is no fan, Sally Yates, of Donald Trump. Now, as Dunleavy reports, newly released documents indicate former FBI Director James Comey kept his superior at the Justice Department in the dark about the Bureau's investigation into retired Lieutenant General Michael Flynn. Former Deputy Attorney General Sally Yates told Special Counsel Robert Mueller's team that she first learned the FBI possessed and was investigating recordings of Flynn's late 2016 conversations with a Russian envoy following a January 5th, 2017 national security meeting at the White House. It wasn't Comey who told her, but former President Barack Obama. Yates, who was briefly the acting attorney general during the early days of the Trump administration before getting fired, and I should have clarified that she was acting attorney general before she was fired, also laid out how in the ensuing days, Comey kept the FBI's actions cloaked in secrecy and repeatedly rebuffed her suggestions that the incoming Trump team be made aware of the Flynn recordings. Now, these recordings they're talking about were conversations that Michael Flynn had with Russian Ambassador Sergei Kislyak. And they had tapped him, in essence, and were tracking those phone conversations. These revelations, the Dunleavy report in the Washington Examiner goes on, appeared in declassified FBI interview notes of the Mueller team's conversation with Yates in August 2017. Highlighted by the Justice Department on Thursday as U.S. Attorney for D.C. Timothy Shea moved to drop its criminal charges against Flynn. To quote Attorney General Barr from his interview on CBS News, as Dunleavy does, one thing people will see if they look at the documents is how Director Comey purposely went around the Justice Department and ignored Deputy Attorney General Yates. Deputy Attorney General Yates, I've disagreed with her about a couple things, but here she upheld the fine tradition of the Department of Justice. She said that the new administration has to be treated just like the Obama administration, and they should go and tell the White House about their findings. And Director Comey ran around that. So in other words, Sally Yates at the time was going to be acting Attorney General. And what did she do? She had a meeting with President Obama at the time, still January 5th, Vice President Joe Biden, James Clapper, James Comey, all these heavy hitters we kept hearing come up over the course of the Russia investigation, some of whom were on cable news heralded as experts by CNN and MSNBC on these very stories of the Russia probe, for example. They were all in this meeting. They leave. Most of them leave. Except Obama has Yates and Comey stay behind. And Obama, not Comey, Obama brings up Flynn, and Yates is shocked. According to Yates, quote, Obama started by saying he had learned of the information about Flynn and his conversation with Russian Ambassador Sergei Kislyak. Obama specified he did not want any additional information on the matter, but was seeking information on whether the White House should be treating Flynn any differently. Don't tell me more. I got a general idea. Should we treat this guy differently? But don't tell me more, please. I got enough information, and I want you to continue looking into this. Then, lo and behold, on Friday, audio is uncovered of former President Barack Obama speaking via phone to the Obama Alumni Association, talking about how the Justice Department has wrongfully dropped charges against Flynn. So to be clear, they went to Judge Sullivan, the judge in the case, and said, we think you should drop the charges. The judge, as of this broadcast, has not yet ruled on that request by the Department of Justice. But here is Barack Obama, who again had that meeting, talking about the dropping of these charges.
The news over the last 24 hours, I think, has been somewhat downplayed about the Justice Department dropping charges against Michael Flynn. And the fact that there is no precedent that anybody can find for someone who's been charged with perjury just getting off scot-free. That's the kind of stuff where you begin to get worried that basic, not just institutional norms, but our basic understanding of rule of law is at risk. And when you start moving in those directions, it can accelerate pretty quickly, as we've seen in other places. So I am hoping that all of you feel the same sense of urgency that I do. Whenever I've campaigned, I've always said, this is the most important election, especially, obviously, when I was on the ballot. That always feels like it's the most important election. This one, I'm not on the ballot, but I am pretty darn invested. We got to make this happen.
Once again, I hear something in that phone call recording. I hear something I remarked on about the video of Obama endorsing Joe Biden for President of the United States. Something that I have seen throughout my observations of Barack Obama as President of the United States during his 8-year tenure. This is another example of how Barack Obama is the epitome of self-righteousness. He is the epitome of what it means to be sanctimonious and to be self-important. Flynn was not charged with perjury. He was charged with lying to the FBI. Yes, shouldn't do that. But he was charged with lying to the FBI on January 24th, 2017, not under oath, which is what perjury is, lying under oath, in what was clearly an orchestrated setup for Flynn. This was nearly 20 days after Obama's meeting in the Oval Office. It is something to see, or hear in this case, Barack Obama talk about the rule of law being eroded. Here's Sally Yates. It was not clear when the president first received the information, that is about Flynn, relative to this January 5th meeting of Obama, Yates, and Comey. She was so surprised by the information she was hearing that she was having a hard time processing it and listening to the conversation at the time. These are notes from the Mueller report. So surprised by the information was this Deputy Attorney General, who's no fan of Donald Trump. Remember, she was fired because she didn't want to defend what she thought was an order that she shouldn't defend in court, which was the travel ban. And yet, Barack Obama has the audacity to talk about rule of law? I know he wrote a book called The Audacity of Hope, but man, is this audacious.